your inner care, your spiritual life. I am Irene Jehovah, wishing you a happy, prayerful Easter.
Ili kupata Warumi 8 kama skiza tune kwenye simu yako, bonyeza *811 *815#.
Nina hakika kwamba hakuna kinachoweza kukutenga na upendo wa Mwenyezi Mungu. Si kifo, si malaika, si vitu tulivyokuwa navyo au tutakavyokuwa navyo, si mamlaka au chochote kitakachoumbwa. Warumi 8:38 hadi 39.
Kupata Warumi 8, bonyeza *811 *815#. *811 *815#.
KBC Board of Directors, Management and Staff wishes all our esteemed listeners, viewers and clients a happy Easter. May Christ's death and resurrection fill you with hope and peace. Happy Easter from us.
It is 17 days into the month of April, the year 2022. A very good evening. Thank you so much for choosing KBC Channel 1 to be the station that informs you on what is happening in Kenya and beyond borders tonight. A very happy Easter wherever you're catching this from. We really hope that you're having a good holiday. Welcome on board as we seek to tell you what has been happening in the country. It is also the political season. We are going to be taking you into what the Azimio La Umoja One Kenya Alliance is doing when it comes to the decision over who is going to be Raila Odinga's number 2, and of course also the aftermath of the United Democratic Alliance party primaries, contained in our comprehensive news bulletin that will also see me have a sit down with a parental empowerment facilitator. Her name is Jane Ruben, and we're going to be talking about co-parenting tonight. What are the boundaries when you sit down and agree that you're going to co-parent your child? What exactly does it entail, and how far is too far? That question I'll be throwing to her when we have that session later on. But first, let's begin our bulletin with the top stories. Love one another. Church calls on the nation not to be divided by politics.
There will be consultation between the presidential candidate Raila Odinga, myself and President Uhuru. Period.
Putting on a brave face, Kalonzo Musyoka says he's in talks with Azimio top leaders on number 2 slot.
Huyu mtoto poi, mtoto mbaya. Si mtoto mzuri. Hata sisi kwa mimi si mzuri.
Kitendo yenye hata wenyewe inatushangaza kama familia kabisa.
And the prized chicken of Kakamega, brother kills skin over lost cockerel. All All right, once again, welcome to the broadcast. My name is Serfine Achieng. John Jacob Keria is not with us tonight, but hopefully on Wednesday he will. I'm doing this together with Anne Wangeshi, our sign language interpreter. So let's begin straight away with our top story. The church is calling on Kenyans to embrace tolerance and a peaceful coexistence during this electioneering period. The clergy in the Easter Sunday services said there was need for the nation to always turn to God when confronted with challenges, saying true believers will always spread the word of love and forgiveness.
At the All Saints Cathedral, Archbishop Jackson Ole Sapit, while delivering the Easter Sunday Mass, urged Christians to change their ways and serve Jesus with truth, harmony and humility.
But Jesus conquering death means the power of Satan, which can lead only to death, is conquered because God brings life after death.
A message echoed at the Stewards Pentecostal Church and Shelter of Love Church in Nairobi, where Christians were urged to spread love to fellow human beings during these Easter celebrations and beyond. The clergy has also urged Kenyans to shun any form of violence during political campaigns and choose their leaders wisely.
Tunaomba viongozi waendelee tu, mtu akipata ni sawa, na sisi kama viongozi ni kuwaombea. Ukikosa utosheke, wananchi wakikukataa utosheke. Hakuna haja ya vita, hata kuna kesho yake.
A happy Pasaka, happy Easter at this time. And just to remind you, things may be tough, but remember there is a God who hears prayers and answers prayer, the one that sent the Lord Jesus to die on our cross. When we call unto him, he still answers.
This is as Reverend James Mogire of Gatembe Church of God in Kisii dismissed leaders that are spreading lies during electioneering period, calling for transparency in selling their manifestos and agendas.
Yesu alikufa akamaliza yote, na hakuna mwanadamu yoyote atakayekufa kwa niaba ya jamii ya mwanadamu mwingine.
In Kiambu, members of the Corino Church converged to pray for peace in the country during their campaign period. Leaders who attended the event imploring on the church to always pray for this nation to remain united even after the competitive politics.
We have been told to maintain peace. We have been told to respect each other. We have been taught a lot about the problems that we're experiencing because of the failure of our leaders.
So I thank God that we are going into the period of elections, and I pray that people will take a look at the right candidates so that we can stop complaining every 5 years that we are not getting anywhere.
While Bishop Christopher Ruto of the Anglican Church Eldoret Diocese is calling on the President and his deputy to reconcile before the August election as a sign of goodwill for having worked together for 2 terms.
So that there will be a model and an example for other generations to come. So this is our prayer, and we shall keep interceding for the country as our mandate and as the people of God.
Ruth Wamboy for Sunday Express.
All right, thank you, Ruth. Now, still staying with the Easter celebrations, holiday goers braved the rains to celebrate Easter Sunday in Mombasa County. Jomo Kenyatta Public Beach was a sea of humanity as Kenyans joined the celebrations dampened last year by the coronavirus pandemic.
Jomo Kenyatta Public Beach was packed by holiday goers who had thronged the coastal city to celebrate Easter holiday after a 2-year lull.
Easter sahi haijapata manufaa zaidi kulingana kama ile nyingine vile ilivyotokea, kwa sababu pia mchumi umezidi sana zaidi sahi. Hali pia imezidi kuwa ngumu, wageni nao pia ni kidogo, hata wazungu pia hakuna tena. Pendelea zaidi serikali yetu wa Kenya kiongoze kipato zaidi na kongamano zaidi ili tupate kipato zaidi.
Biashara yetu kidogo iko poa, fresh kabisa, tuendelea vizuri hivyo hivyo, kidogo kidogo tunapata wageni wanakuja, tunaendelea vizuri biashara yetu. Easter sasa ni poa kuliko iliyopita. Iliyopita kidogo ilikuwa chini kidogo.
Those who had traveled from up country could not even allow the rainy weather to dampen their celebration spirit. Those celebrating saying the long wait was now over after the pandemic brought holidaying to a stop in the last 2 years. The revelers lauding the hygiene in the beach and the organization of the traders.
Tulikuja tusherehekee pamoja na familia ambapo nimeona mabadiliko mengi. Siku ya leo nimehudhuria upande wa ferry na nimeona kuna ubadiliko mwingi ambao umefanyika. Kwa hivyo na shukuru kaunti ya Mombasa kwa yale yanayowatendea watu wa Mombasa. Easter yangu sitasema pesa yangu imepotelea kwa kuwa pia beach kuna watu wengi wanafurahia, kumaanisha waja kuja hapa kufurahia kwa sababu si pazuri, lakini kwa sababu ni vile kumeendelea na mambo ya Mombasa imeendelea vizuri.
Nilikuwa mkaaji wa Mombasa, lakini hivi sasa niko Kiambu County na nimekuja tena kusherehekea Easter yangu nikiwa huku Mombasa katika bahari hii, na hakika ni kwema, na tukijaribu compare na miaka ambayo imepita kama 2020 wakati wa corona, ilikuwa hakuna wakati wa kuja kujienjoy. Easter zetu tulikuwa tumefungiwa, lakini sasa hivi tunashukuru Mwenyezi Mungu kwa kuwa corona ni kama imeisha. Kwa hivyo sote tumekusanyika hapa tukiwa na furaha kusherehekea Easter yetu hapa baharini.
They called on the county government of Mombasa to put in place measures including trained divers to control the surging crowds and save lives in case of uncertainties. For Sunday Express from Mombasa County, I'm Michael Mondiga.
Encouraging pictures indeed from Mombasa County. Thank you, Michael Mwandiga, for compiling that report for us. Remember, Christ is the reason for the season. Happy Easter, wherever you're watching this broadcast from. Now, let's shift gears to matters politics. Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka says he is not aware of any committee in Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party seeking to identify a suitable running mate for Raila Odinga. Kalonzo says talks are underway between him, Raila Odinga, and the president on how the coalition will settle on its number 2.
Kalonzo, who had attended an Easter Sunday mass in Nairobi, downplayed claims that the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya party had formed a committee to identify Raila Odinga running mate.
It was not an easy matter, I can tell you. It can never be easy. Mbona mnang'ang'ania ya running mate? Na mimi niko hapa. Mnang'ang'ana, mnanisukuma. Wachaneni maneno. God knows who will be the running mate. Okay.
Kalonzo claiming the 3 top leaders in the coalition party are in talks on how to identify a suitable candidate to run for number 2.
I want you guys to relax. Okay? What will happen, there will be consultation. Let me be honest with you. There will be consultation between the presidential candidate Raila Odinga, myself, and President Uhuru. Period.
He further claimed running mate is not about numbers but experience and delivery of services.
So, and we'll take into account the feelings, all right, and opinions of others. So please take it to the bank that I'm in the decision-making team. Tafadhali, now relax. I don't think this issue about running mate, don't make it what it is not. It has happened before.
The Wiper Party leader urged the church to pray for the nation, terming the days ahead as tough and trying. Meanwhile, the Wiper Democratic Movement in Mombasa has been thrown into confusion following the entry of former Nairobi Governor Mike Mbovi Sonko into the Mombasa governorship race. Party officials and aspirants claim that Kisauni Member of Parliament Ali Mbogo has not been issued the direct nomination ticket as he claimed on Saturday and will have to face it out with Sonko, who has since shifted his political base.
Lakini nimeliweka wazi hapa kuwa mimi ndo nilipatiwa interim certificate na tukiwa na huyo Sonko katika Bomas of Kenya. Na kama kungekuwa na mpinzani au yeye angekuwa ni mpinzani wangu, nisingepatiwa interim certificate.
So mtu akijitokeza akisema amepewa direct ticket kwa chama haswa kwa Mombasa, atakuwa anazungumza jambo la urongo, si ukweli.
Now, moving this forward, a section of Nanyuki United Democratic Alliance supporters have demonstrated over what they term as shambolic party nominations. The residents say the exercise was riddled with cases of rigging and now want Deputy President to intervene. Elsewhere, a section of United Democratic Alliance members in Laikipia also threatened to ditch the party over alleged irregularities in the just concluded nominations.
Demonstrations rocked Nanyuki town after a section of UDA supporters protested against the results of the just concluded UDA primaries in Laikipia County. The disgruntled supporters blocked several roads, alleging there was rigging in the position of woman representative in Laikipia West constituency. They claimed that Purity Gitonga had won the nomination, but the certificate was issued to Jen Kagiri.
Na ukora ambayo imefanyika Laikipia kanda Munazi ni kitu ya kuzunisha sisi watu wa Laikipia. Hatutakubali ya kwamba mtu ambaye alikuwa ameshindwa na kula mingi sana ndiye anapatiwa certificate.
Na hii ushindi imetangazwa usiku saa 6. Tumekaa siku 3, siku ya 3 saa 6 ndio tunasikia tukipigiwa simu.
In Nyahururu town, a section of UDA aspirants took to the streets to protest the results of Laikipia West constituency party primaries, citing irregularities in the exercise. The aspirants claimed they would not accept anything short of a recount of the votes.
Hii ni kura moja ya Wachira Karani ilimakiwa, nilitoa kwa alo kwa mfuko, na hizi nazo ni mihuli zilikuwa kwa mifuko. Kazi yao ilikuwa ni kutoa ballot, wanakuja wanaweka, wakimwekea ndio ikifika wakati wa kuhesabu akuwe na amepata kula. Mkiangalia ukweli wa maneno, Karani alikuwa namba 3 lakini yeye ndiye ameletwa juu. Sasa hiyo ndio bottom up, unatolewa chini unaletwa wapi? Juu.
Wale wanafikiria ndio watatuongoza through the back door. Wananchi wamekataa na wamekataa kabisa, na sisi na kitu tunasema ni ya kwamba uchaguzi lazima urudiwe.
Meanwhile, in Nakuru, parliamentary and ward representative aspirants who lost in the nominations have initiated the process of petitioning the party to relook into the integrity of its primaries in their respective areas.
What we encountered as members and aspirants of the UDA party in Gile constituency was shambolic, unfair, because in various police stations, my agents were denied access.
Result ya Kaptembwa tumekataa. Si tumekataa? Tumekataa. Tunamwambia ya kwamba kwa nini vituo inapiga kura inakuja rate na vitu vingine ifunguliwi.
Nancy Okware, Sunday Express.
Thank you, Nancy, for that. Now, away from politics, on to some unfortunate news here. Police in Shinyalu constituency of Kakamega County are holding a suspect who allegedly killed his brother over chicken. Bonventure Lumwachi is reported to have killed his brother, Augustine Muhanga, over suspicions that he stole his chicken. Shinyalu Police Commander Robert Makau says the suspect is admitted to hospital after an irate mob attacked him over his action.
Residents of Senyende village, Shinyalu constituency of Kakamega County are yet to come to terms with the tragic incident in which one Bonventure Lumwachi allegedly murdered his brother Augustine Muhanga over a chicken.
Bonventure alikuwa ana demand kuku yake moja imepotea, ambaye alikuwa na suspect ni Augustine ameiba.
Mimi niko na uchungu sana kumpoteza huyu Augustine, sababu ni kijana mwenye alikuwa amekaa kwa hii boma kungoja anti yangu. Sasa naona hata anti yangu bila amepaki kwa hii boma itakuwa uchungu sana, sababu hana mtu wa kumngoja.
According to the family member, the 23-year-old was attacked and stabbed with a knife by his brother, who accused him of the chicken theft.
Alikuwa ametungwa kisu tu moja hapa kwa mbavu, kwa mkongo. Na hiyo kisu alikuwa ana plead akitolea damu kwa mdomo.
Hii ni kitendo yenye hata wenyewe inatushangaza kama familia kabisa. Mimi mwenyewe yani nilishtuka, wenzangu wananiuliza unashtuka nini, kaeleza my brother ameniacha.
The family, however, accused the suspect of using the allegation to settle old scores with his late brother.
Lakini huyu mtoto mbaya, si mtoto mzuri. Hata sisi kwa mimi si mzuri. Huyo saa yote ni kukipapa panga tu, saa yote nakaa na rungu tu, kila kitu.
Hatu kujua nani Bonventure ako na crutch yenye itasababisha vita Augustine akirudi.
Na alikuwa analalamika akisema kwamba yeye
hajakusa kitu yake ambayo sijui ilikuwa kuku. Alikuwa anasema hakukuza, ndugu yake amemsingizia.
Shinyalu Police Commander Robert Makau says the suspect was later attacked by a mob, leaving him with serious injuries. He says the suspect will be arraigned in court after he is discharged from the Kakamega hospital where he is currently recuperating. Timothy Kipnosu for Sunday Express.
Indeed, a lot of questions being raised there. We hope that the police will fast-track investigations to unearth what might have led to this particular incident. Now, a Nakuru-based businessman is seeking justice and government's intervention over what he claims as a theft of 10 million shillings from his bank account by an employee of Credit Bank. Francis Nganga says despite investigations that led to the arrest and charging of the employee, the bank is yet to deposit his money to his account 11 months later.
According to Kihara, the theft occurred between June 6, 2017 and August 28, 2019. His fears were later confirmed by a bank statement he obtained.
Mimi nimekuwa nikiweka pesa zangu Credit Bank miaka karibu 12 iliyopita. Kwa muda huu wote nilikuwa watu wangu wakipeleka pesa Credit Bank na pesa anapewa slip ya pesa ameweka, lakini pesa hasikuwa zikiwekwa kwa account.
The new development prompting an investigation by the involved bank, leading to the arrest of a female cashier who was later charged for theft.
Investigation ikaendelea mpaka kwa bank fraud unit na kukapatikana pesa zilipotea na zilipotea zikiwa mikononi mwa bank. Investigation ilionyesha kwamba cashier ndio alikuwa akichukua pesa na alishikwa na akastakiwa na bank. Banki iliahidi kunilipa pesa zangu, lakini kuanzia last year but one wamekuwa hawajanirudishia pesa zangu.
In a petition to the Central Bank of Kenya and the Kenya Bankers Association, Nganga notes that his 4 bank accounts were yet to be credited with the stolen amount, though the financial institution had acknowledged liability.
Wakili wangu amewatumia barua ya kutaka warudishe pesa, wanasema wanatarudisha, lakini hawajaweza kunirudishia pesa yangu.
Kihara, who says he's in dire need of the cash to fund his medication, is now calling on the relevant institutions' intervention as his efforts to get the refund have hit a snag.
Now, a 28-year-old lady driver in Kisii County claims she is being mistreated by her employer after demanding her rightful dues. Mercy Ondieki, a mother of one, claims she chauffeured her employer who was seeking an elective position and has now refused to pay her after she lodged a complaint.
Mercy Ondieki left her work as a public service vehicle driver to work as a chauffeur for a human politician who is aspiring for a county seat in the August 9th polls in Kisii County.
Nimefanya kazi kwake miezi 3.5. Mama hajanilipa. Nimejaribu kumuomba pesa zangu na niambia baada hajapata msaala, ananiambia baada aliweka cheki hajasaini, ananiambia baada asijaingia.
Having worked for 3.5 months, the employer dismissed her after an altercation and paid her 25,000 shillings.
Pia alikuwa anafaa kunipea 2,000 msaala, akatoa 500 ya chakula na ya nyumba yenye alikuwa amenipea. Kufika kwake nyumba imefungwa, kuuliza yeye ananitusi, ananiambia toka kwangu, maskini nikatoka.
Ondieki claims her dues were at the rate of 1,500 shillings per day, which the employer failed to honor, saying she had based the assignment on trust and never bothered to seek a written agreement.
Human rights wanisaidie. Naomba wanisaidie jameni. Naomba usaidizi ili nipata haki yangu. Niko na watoto wanahitaji school fees, naomba wanisaidie.
Watauzika na maneno ya mama, advocacy iko, nitaandikia hata Betty Okero Kisumu wako Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, bado nitawaandikia wafanye hiyo kazi. Huyu mama atetewe. Fida wako wataangalia hii na wakuje on board, sababu huyu anadhulumiwa, hana pahali atapeleka huyo. Anamwambia wewe ni kitu kidogo, hakuna pahali utanipeleka.
All right, away from that, now on to the COVID-19 situation in the country. The country's COVID-19 positivity rate was on Saturday at 0.3%, following the confirmation of 5 new infections out of 1,836 samples tested in the last 24 hours. The total confirmed positive cases now stand at 323,614 out of over 3.6 million samples screened in the country so far. According to the Ministry of Health, no death was recorded today, with fatalities remaining at 5,649. Over 17 million people have been vaccinated, and according to data from Johns Hopkins University, over 500 million COVID-19 infections have been confirmed globally, with 6.2 million deaths being reported. And allow us now to take a very short break. We will be back with much more. Remember, our conversation tonight focuses on co-parenting. We are looking at some of the complexities that this kind of arrangement usually raises, especially for parents who are involved, and even the interest of the child. What are the boundaries? For instance, when your child falls sick in the middle of the night, it's an emergency. Are you allowed to call your co-parent? They're there with their family. Are you allowed to call them past certain hours? These are some of the issues that co-parents usually raise, and we're going to be discussing that in just a bit. I'll be having a sit down with Jane Ruben. She is a parental empowerment facilitator. Do stay for that and much more.
Thank you guys for watching. Mini Flaco, an online content creator. Some time ago, I was hacked. And these hackers used my information to create several other accounts. Wakasambaza pictures and messages all over, pretending it's me. Shortly, there are a few more 100 Flacos in Kenya. What?
Being fooled online? Get CyberSmart to enjoy safe entertainment and education online. The Communications Authority.
A true love in which family will be the main hardship to achieve happiness.
Well, I understand it, Mom, but I don't want to break up with Adrian.
Paulina will have to confront her own father. And Adrian will suffer due to his sister Julieta's obsession.
No! Not with her! No! Not with her! No!
Paulina is the woman I truly love!
No.
But regardless of jealousy and intrigue,
Karen, open the door, please!
they will fight for their love until the end.
All right, welcome back, and thank you for staying with us. Now let's move this forward. And are vinyl records still popular and of any relevance today? This is a question many people would ask when they come across a record player or a vinyl record. However, many vinyl lovers here in Nairobi will insist that indeed the old music technology is as new as ever. The culture is still alive and kicking, with the World Record Store Day slated for Saturday, 23rd April 2022. And as Karen Diongo reports, local vinyl lovers nevertheless decided to mark the day a week earlier prior to the big day.
The Record Store Day is an annual event inaugurated in 2017 to celebrate the culture of the independently owned record stores around the world. Saturday, April 16th marked the first Record Store Day since COVID-19.
This was World Record Store Day, which is celebrated all over the world. And around here, it's only us who have done it, north of Johannesburg and south of Cairo.
Converging vinyl music lovers at the famous Kenyatta Market for some cultural exchange, entertainment, and amazing vinyl sales at the record store.
Record Store Day is something we picked up off the internet, which happens on the third Saturday of April. That was supposed to bring people together to meet up like this, buy records, and if there's any new releases, you can check it out and copy.
The event that was held by the Vinyl Guru and the Crate Society aimed at bringing together artists, DJs, music lovers, and vinyl collectors.
This is like a wholesale of anything vinyl or anything vintage, electronics. I've gotten most of the good records that I've been looking for here. I've had my record players and speakers serviced here.
Well, I've been buying records from Jimmy since 2011. And so we always met up, and the more we met, the more I kept running into like-minded individuals, and we decided to make meetings or gatherings to share music.
Vinyl music lovers are adamant that the sound and culture is unique, making them to stand out from the music crowd.
I don't know, I was just interested. I love music so much, and it's a huge part of my family also. So we have a vinyl collection at home, so I just started being interested in collecting for myself also,
For me, it's the vinyls are a bit scarce, and while streaming music, you could find any other song. And vinyl is I have to dig in, I have to find something from 50 years ago. I think that gives me, I could live in the past.
Collecting vinyl is a hobby many identify themselves with. Some have been doing it for years.
I've been collecting since, let's say 2007, but that was not actively, very intentional. Intentionally, I started in 2011.
It's not easy. It's a bit of an expensive hobby. A big piece, the bigger ones, the 12-inch vinyl, are about 1,000 bob each, and the smaller ones can be about 500 bob each, and that depends on the one that you are picking.
In Kenya, the vinyl culture is big and growing fast. This explains why record sales have been going up since the first release in 1948.
Vinyl renaissance is so big, as you have witnessed from today. All these are lovers of vinyl. It's not like CDs that are dying. Nobody's buying CDs anymore. But vinyl, on upwards.
For Sunday Express, I am Karen Thiongo.
Right, great reporting there, Karen Thiongo. Some people are still asking me here in studio. My camera person, Austin, is asking me, what is that? I'm sure some of you can relate. I'll answer him a bit later once we're done with this bulletin. But right now, let me take you to what is happening across the counties. Persons with a visual impairment are poised to start using computers after being equipped with assistive computer technology skills through a training that is being financed by the U.S. Embassy in collaboration with Enable Company Limited. 60 visually impaired persons from across the country will benefit from the training that will enable them gain online entrepreneurship skills and other income-generating online activities.
Youth with visual impairments drawn from Kiambu, Mombasa, Meru and Siaya counties are beneficiaries of an assistive computer technology skills training which was launched in Thika School for the visually impaired. The training was aimed at bridging the gap that exists between visual non-impaired persons and those with visual impairments in matters internet access.
What we are doing, we are trying to create business leaders who are blind. And in the world of business or in the world of entrepreneurship, there is that notion that people with visual impairment are limited and they cannot venture in business.
This training itanisaidia ku market video zangu hadi nianze kuzipost YouTube, so watu waweze kuwatch na wanijue now, because TikTok for now hailipi and YouTube with a certain number of subscribers itaanza kulipa.
In Kakamega, over 70 children living with disability have benefited from donations that included foodstuff and beddings worth 150,000 shillings from a non-governmental organization.
Tukiwa na chungwa moja tugawane wale wote, tukiwa na maziwa paketi moja, acha wale tuwafulie waoge na watoto waishi maisha kikamilifu kama mtoto mwingine awaye yeyote.
Elsewhere, the government has been asked to distribute food to the vulnerable people facing hunger instead of giving cash. Ahadi Kenya Trust Executive Director Dr. Stanley Kamau said cash transfers may fail to reach the targeted population.
I will commend the work the government is doing. And I'm one of the people who are very much against the cash transfer, because you know the people who are hungry. Those are persons with disability, they are the elderly, they are people who do not even read newspapers, they don't even listen to the radios, they don't have TVs, they don't have phones. So when the government says it's going to distribute cash transfer for those who are hungry, I think it was ill-advised.
And coffee farmers in Trans Nzoia County and the North Rift region have been asked to invest in modern farming technologies which will help to increase the output and quality of their coffee. Trans Nzoia County Officer in charge of agriculture, Mary Nzomo, called on farmers in the region to embrace good agricultural practices that will improve the quality of coffee that is processed.
Vile mkulima anatunza kahawa katika shamba lake, vile including even nutrition, kulisha, mambo ya control pests and diseases, ina compromise quality. Wakati mkulima ametoa cherry, vile anai process, we don't do proper fermentation, ina compromise quality. Hiyo ni mambo mengi ambayo tumezungumza hapa siku ya leo.
Frederick Mukifu, Sunday Express.
Welcome back. It's now time for us to take a look at what's making headlines in the world of sports. My name is Karen Kibet. Now, Kenya were relegated to the 13th place semi-final at the ongoing Vancouver leg of this season's HSBC Sevens World Series after losing to Ireland in the 9th place quarter-final. Kenya only managed one win in the group stage against USA before losing to Fiji and England, eventually dropping down to the 9th place quarter-final. They lost 21-14 to Ireland.
Kenya began the Vancouver Sevens leg with a narrow 19-17 win over the United States. Kevin Wekesa and Bush Mwale scoring the 3 tries, 2 of those being converted by Anthony Omondi.
Now Daniel Tabu, who's got electric feet, he turns in the switch beautifully. Kevin Wekesa cuts against the great Kenya. Fire one in under the sticks.
It was a tough encounter against Fiji as the Kenyan side was thrashed 38-7, getting only 1 try through Alvin Marube and converted by Levi Amunga.
From Josevani Sano, he's finally stopped, but he keeps the ball alive. Matana, his first ever try on the World Series. Congratulations.
The scoreline did not look as bad against England as Kenya went down 19-12 thanks to 2 tries by Kevin Wekesa and Bush Mwale. Anthony Omondi converted 1 try. After the leg in Vancouver, the Kenyan side will return home to prepare for the next 2 legs to be held in Toulouse and London, to be held next month before the season ends in Los Angeles in August.
Thank you, Buckley, for that report. Now, moving on, Kenyan-born Romanian Joan Chelimo Meli won the 2022 edition of the Seoul Marathon in South Korea in a new record time of 2 hours, 18 minutes and 4 seconds. Chelimo, who has been running for Romania since last year, improved the previous record time by almost 2 minutes. The 31-year-old, who has competed in 6 half-marathon races, came to the race with the 3rd fastest time on paper of 2 hours, 20 minutes and 57 seconds. That she got when she finished in 8th place at the 2020 Valencia Marathon. Ethiopia's Sutume Asefa and Yunis Chebichi of Bahrain finished 2nd and 3rd respectively. In the men's competition, Kenya's Mark Korir finished 4th after clocking 2 hours, 6 minutes and 54 seconds. The race was won by Mozinet Garmev of Ethiopia in 2 hours, 4 minutes and 43 seconds. Kenyan Joyce Ndirangu and Harun Suba of Uganda are leading in Kenya Open Chess Championships after round 7 of the event held today in Nairobi. Joyce Ndirangu is leading the Kenyan table with 6 points, having won 6 matches ahead of Gloria Jumba, also from Kenya, who is second with 5.5 points. Millie Takali from Uganda is third and 5 points, while Triza Mwendwa, Cynthia Awino, Sasha Mongeli and Madelta Glenda have 5 points each in positions 4 to 7 respectively. Harunan Subuga from Uganda leads the men's table on 6 points, same as Benjamin Magana, Mike Akambo, Emmanuel Egesa and Patrick Kuma, who are the best 5 players. The final round of the tournament will be played tomorrow. Chelsea will face Liverpool in the FA Cup final after they comfortably beat Crystal Palace 2-0 in their semi-final at Wembley. Former Palace Ruben Loftus-Cheek hammered the Blues in front with a thunderous strike after 65 minutes. Then Mason Mount doubled Chelsea's advantage 14 minutes from time as they cruised into the 16 FA Cup final. Finally, Bruno Guimaraes struck deep into stoppage time to give Newcastle a 2-1 victory over Leicester and edge the Magpies a step closer to Premier League survival. Meanwhile, West Ham came from behind to dent Burnley's hopes of avoiding relegation from the Premier League in a match tainted by Ashley Westwood's injury, ending in a 1-1 draw. And those are all the sports stories we had for you tonight. Have yourself a peaceful night and a fruitful week ahead. My name is Karen Kibet, but the broadcast is not yet over as I do hand you back to Serfine Achieng, who has more in store for you.
Do you have a news story to share with KBC? Get in touch swiftly on email news@kbc.co.ke or call 0723-892-654 or 0734-780-124.
The legendary run to Olympia Stadion in Berlin is now less crowded, with only 4 teams out of 64 still in contention. Something more outstanding is that all of the sides to have won the DFB Pokal over the last 29 years are already out this year.
And Leverkusen are knocked out by a Bundesliga 2 side.
In the first DFB Pokal semi-final, Hamburger SV will face Freiburg on Tuesday, the 19th of April 2022 at 9:45 p.m. While in the second semi-final, RB Leipzig will lock horns with Union Berlin on Wednesday, the 20th April 2022 at 9:45 p.m. Having braced the turbulent journey and buoyed up with the trophy inside, no team want to go down without a fight. You don't want to miss this adventurous football show, live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1. KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
All right, welcome back and thank you for staying with us on Sunday Express tonight. I told you we'll be talking about co-parenting, an issue that is currently picking up in our society, especially with the increasing cases of divorce. We are seeing a lot of parents getting into an agreement whereby the two of them decide that they are going to not allow their differences to affect the upbringing of their child. So they enter into this pact of raising their child together. But this comes with a lot of complexities, especially when both parents decide to move on and they are seeing other people, perhaps even married to other people. what are the boundaries and what are some of the do's and don'ts when you're co-parenting and you're in another relationship? How far is too far? And these are the buttons we want to touch tonight, courtesy of a request by one of our viewers who requested that we discuss this subject. And I've brought in somebody who works with parents in this particular journey, and her name is Jane Ruben. Jane Ruben is a parental empowerment facilitator. Thank you, Jane. Many are actually surprised there's something like that. But it's not easy, parenting, and you can never do it alone. So thank you so much for creating your time on Easter to come and share this with us.
Thank you, Serfine.
Yeah. So we are talking about co-parenting. Yes. It's a subject that has been quite, a mountain for many who are doing it right now as we speak. There are so many decisions to make. Some you agree on as parents, some you don't. And it's just something that we can talk about all night. But let's begin by just the basics. What is co-parenting from your perspective?
All right. So thank you very much. It's nice to be here, to discuss this kind of a thing. I wouldn't have missed, even if it's on an Easter holiday, because I know this is a topic that people need out there. I come across so many parents who are also asking the same thing. So co-parenting is when you have to parent one child or children and you're not staying together, so you have to sort of co-parent, and that is what it is by when we talk about co-parenting.
And this does not mean that the parents are separated by distance. It's not a long distance marriage. Let's set that clear.
Yes.
This is in a situation where the parents have decided that they can no longer continue to be in that marriage together, or in that relationship. And they've gone their way. But they still want to raise the children together. Yeah. So that is what we are talking about tonight. So in the next few minutes, I want us to talk about the complexities of co-parenting, especially when the two parties in this agreement leave alone the children. The two parties have decided to move on, and they could be seeing other people. What are some of the fundamental principles that need to be considered, when, these two people are making this sort of decision, putting the interest of the child at the center of this? Before you decide to move on and you're co-parenting, what are some of the things that you're supposed to consider?
Of course, when you're co-parenting, there are a lot of emotions. Remember, these are people who have separated. I mean, they were once lovebirds, and now things have gone separate ways, and now they can't at all stay together, and so they have to agree on how to bring up their children. So there are many things that will come in there, and one of the things that probably needs to happen is that they need to set boundaries. There ought to be boundaries, and we are saying it is starting from a relationship that has gone sour. So there are a lot of resentment, there is a lot of anger, there is a lot of bad things happening in their lives, and so the only thing you can be able to work together as parents is to be able to look at the interests of the child and say, okay, we've gone separate ways, things are not working for us, but we have these children or we have this child that we need to take care of, and so then you need to come up with some boundaries. And one of the boundaries that probably you need to do, this is unwritten, keep it simple. Just keep it simple. And one of the things that probably a parent should be able to do is to stick to the parenting rules. Like, you need to ensure that what is your role as a mother or as a father, you do and you execute for the sake of your child, and keep it simple. The other thing that should also happen is that you should not badmouth about the other parent, and that's the boundary that probably will know. Of course, there would be probably, you may have come out of that relationship because maybe the man was narcissistic, or there were many bad things were happening, and so you left the person without caring much. But then the right of a child to be parented by the two parents is fundamental. So it is important for you to ensure that you don't badmouth about the other. These children will grow up, or this child will grow up, and they can actually be able to pick on why to separate, or why you didn't stay together, or why they were not parented together by both parents, and so they can be able to make their decisions. So another rule is to ensure that what is happening in your partner's life or into your ex's life is not your business. Because they may want to start dating again. And so if you're to speak with your ex, if you're to speak with the other parent, just keep it the business of the child. Don't go into personal things like, how was your day? So what about this Easter holiday and all those kind of things. strictly stick to the children. If you're talking about a child, you can talk about the child and not talk about yourself, because you know there will be emotions. If you start talking about, I was out with my boyfriend or I was out with my girlfriend, there's that issue of the man starting to feel like, no.
But what if you have reservations about whoever your co-parent could be seeing? Basically, it all zeroes into the welfare of the child. Maybe you're not comfortable with their lifestyle. Maybe you're not comfortable with something. Something is not adding up in that relationship. And as a co-parent, you're concerned because this could be the future mother or the future father of your child. Do you have a say?
Are you saying you would want to choose?
Do you have a say? No, I'm just asking.
No, you don't have a say over what or whom your ex chooses. Stick to the welfare of your child. If your child is at risk, if you probably consent abuse or there is abuse, the welfare of the child. So whatever business that the two people are doing together, why he chose on this girl or why the girl chose on this man and not you, is a different story altogether. Like, keep your communication like business-like. The way you deal with your boss.
Professional.
Keep it professional. Talk about the child only. So if the girl, whatever style, whatever you know about the lady or the man of your ex should actually not be your business. Stick to the issue of your child, because then you're starting to deviate from the main issue. And start to sort of trying to choose that this may not be the best stepmother or stepfather for my child. So you totally
don't have a say in what happens?
You don't have a say in what happens in that man's life.
So in the event that these two people have decided to have a relationship and one of the partners is co-parenting with their ex, what would you advise in terms of how far is too far? For example, this couple is having lunch and the baby mama or the father of the baby is calling, and the partner could be feeling a bit uncomfortable with that kind of closeness. I mean, what are some of the things that people who are co-parenting should consider before they move into a new relationship?
Well, not maybe things to consider before moving into a new relationship, because then it will depend with someone. Whenever they want to move in with someone else. But again, boundaries. So we can talk about when do I call you or when can you call me.
So you need to discuss it.
You need to discuss it formally and ensure it is done. Like if you say no calling me because you're asking about the birthday, you can actually even do parallel parenting. That means if the child has a birthday, let the man do it and let the mother also do it. Have 2 birthdays, because then this issue of you being in a situation whereby you're going for your son's or your daughter's birthday and there's another person in that person's life, then that can make you quite uncomfortable. So can you do parallel parenting? If it's an issue of maybe the mother calling in the middle of the night that the baby is unwell and blah, 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 can you talk about what we can do? Can you get a cover for that child so the mother doesn't have to bother you in the night? So can they book an Uber, take Uber or whatever other means of transport to the hospital? You don't have to come and drive them to the hospital, because then those are you're also guarding the relationship on the other side. Just like the way you would also want to guard your relationship if you had any, So be mindful of when you talk. And these are things that people agree on, either in writing or people even go to court to talk about maybe the custody of the children and things. Stick to those things that you have discussed or the boundaries that we are talking about.
What do you need to do to make your partner comfortable with the fact that you could be having a baby mama or the father of your child still part of your life because you're co-parenting? Because some people would tend to feel a bit uncomfortable with that kind of arrangement, that at some point you would be meeting, discussing the welfare of the child and I'm not there. I mean, so how do you make that work? How do you make it easy for your partner?
I think it starts with an open communication. Right from the word go, when you have separated and you sort of will be calling each other, and at some point maybe they're also having relationship talk. So if I was going to get into another relationship and you were to stay with my baby, let's keep the lines of communication straight. Like if this man met a lady and he feels that maybe this is a person I want to meet, talk about your child, talk about that you have a child and you are the father or you are the mother. And at some point, if this child is not with you, he's with the father, or if he's not with the father, he's with you. That kind of a thing. So that then even this new relationship that you're going to start on a clean slate. The person understands that maybe this is what I expect. If they feel that they are going to be uncomfortable at one point or the other, I mean, your child comes first or you prefer a child. There are people who will prefer those new relationships than their children, it's still okay. Yes. The best thing is that you don't take it personal. You know, like stick to the issue of the child, and that's it.
Would you agree that there is sometimes some element of, you know, extortion and taking advantage of the circumstances, you know, when it comes to this co-parenting agreement? Have you heard of cases or, you know, instances of sort?
Yes, of course there are those issues. Like you said, it has started from a place where people are not agreeing, and so maybe someone has gone with some resentment, has gone with some anger, and they will want to probably, like you're saying, extort them, like pay high school fees in very high cost schools, maybe move from one place to another where the man would be paying a lot of money. It's always good that you can agree, because the person who is paying or taking care of the other should actually be able to be within their means, like what is this what they're comfortable to do. Some cases will even end up in courts, and the man or the lady, depending with however it has gone, will be requested to say maybe how much and what they can be able to do, and then there's a point where they can probably say what they're able to do. If they're not able to do, then it will have minimized a lot of that exploiting each other. Yes.
There are instances where you find that a child is rebellious, especially when they feel that the father is seeing somebody else, and they prefer that the parents would get back together.
Yes. So
they kind of sort of depict that rebellious behavior, or the mother is seeing somebody else and they prefer the father.
Yes.
So how do you deal with that?
Of course, it's a tricky situation. and you also cannot be able to rule out the fact that there's some influence from either of the parties, either the mother or the father. You know, there's that place where you would want to pull your child and tell them, don't agree, like don't even listen to them and that kind of a thing. Of course, that's a negative way of doing it, because then if the child starts to rebel, it is important for them to know that there are decisions that parents make and they have nothing to do with them. Okay? Yeah, they have nothing to do with them. And if they have nothing to do with them, then they ought to know, it is important for this child to know, both parents, like you have an obligation as a mother or as a father to be able to sit down with your child and say, look, this is how it has gone. We are separating with your dad or with your mom, and at some point you'll be staying with them, at some point you'll be staying with me. You might find someone in my life, you might find someone in their life, you know, like you start preparing them. And of course then when you're doing that, you're giving them age appropriate information. They need to synthesize, you know, the only information that they can be able to process at that time. Age. Then you keep building on what you have told them as you move on. Yes.
We are running out of time for this conversation, but I won't leave you without asking you the financial aspect of it. And this was a thorny one, that a woman has been married, they've moved on, but they're still co-parenting. But before she got married, the father of the child was paying rent and taking care of all the basic necessities. So after she has gotten married, does the man still continue to pay the house rent and all that? Like, what are the financial boundaries?
Of course, there are those financial boundaries, and I know that's a funny one, like you're saying. I guess then it is only fair enough, and it even for the sake of the man. Like if you got married and the other man was paying house rent, then it is only good that rent, because then you're married and maybe the person who was even married you has even a house, so you don't need rent. That money can be channeled into the child. Remember, we are saying it has only to be the welfare of the child that you're having together. So issues to do with if the person has gotten married, and of course by and by this man gives up or this person will give up, they'll be like, or even this lady, like if it is soaring emotions in this partner, then you don't have to continue doing it if he's able to do it. But if the person then continues to insist that then I must continue doing this or I must continue doing this for my child, it is still okay. Let them support them, let them take them to school and that kind of a thing. The other thing I would also want to mention that I know I've found in my counseling profession with parents is that they will want that because Shosho is having a certain party at home, you're wondering, so do I go with this child? It is important and it is good to know that only a child is supposed to attend, to even remove the ridicule. I mean, you're married, so the father of the child is also joining you. It doesn't bring out a good picture. So it is important to also talk about it. Like, can you come to our place when you're having like a rorashio or something, you know, like a function at home, and then agree. And all this agreement has actually to be revolving around the welfare of the child and the interest of the child. So at the end of the day, every decision is what is in the best interest of this child. Exactly. Not about the two of you. Exactly. All right. I wish we could continue, but that's all the time we had for tonight for this conversation. But of course, this is a conversation we should hopefully pick up next Sunday and talk about co-parenting. We'll discuss that. But just before we wind up, probably, because it's a journey that somebody cannot, do alone. You walk with parents through this. Probably one would want to reach out. Yeah. If anyone would want to reach out, like I said, I can always give them my number. So 0721 697 107. Let's catch up. Let's talk about it. You don't have to die because you're thinking about and those emotions that people are going through are actually very normal. When of course it is like loss and grief. When someone has lost, there is anger, there is bargaining, of course it doesn't take a linear motion until you get to a safe space where you are comfortable, you have no feelings about your ex, and you can still talk about this child. All right. So thank you so much. Thank you, Jen Ruben, for your time. Of course, a lot of questions still coming in. Be picking this conversation up. Co-parenting sounds easy, but it's not. You ask those who are in it right now, they will tell you some of the challenges that they are currently facing as they try to raise their child in the best way possible. We'll be discussing this as we continue right here on Sunday Express, but that's the much time we had for this conversation tonight, unfortunately, and that's how we put a cap on it. I've been having a sit down with Jane Ruben, a parental empowerment facilitator. You can also call her parental coach if you like, simply like that. And my name is Serfine Achieng. Our sign language interpreter tonight has been Anne Wangeshi. Have a good night and God bless.